Welcome to God Sees You. You are not alone. We want to thank God for giving us another opportunity to come and share wisdom, to come and share the things that we need to be talking about as women, the things that we need to be addressing as women. Now, it is no secret that we have been facing so many challenges, especially in the past decades, with COVID and HIV and AIDS. There's just so much that has been happening in our lives, and those things have left us so much affected, and we have been struggling to rise above the challenges that we have been facing, especially our emotions, the way we think, and there's so many thoughts that are in our hearts. Now, when you go to the Bible, Jesus says, in this life, you will have trials, you will have tribulations, you will be persecuted, there will be calamities. And that is a promise from the Lord. And then he says, but then take heart, because I have overcome the world. Now, we try so much to run away from challenges and calamities, yet the Lord has promised us that these are the things that we are going to be facing. So today we want to address the issue of mental health. So we're going to be talking about what is mental health, so that we can understand that in the situation that we are facing, in the challenge that you are facing, my dear listener, or if you are watching us on the social media platforms, how can you rise above where you are? Or how can you recognize that, you know what, I am struggling with my emotions, or I am struggling mentally, or I am struggling, in handling the situation or the challenges I have faced in the past, or I am currently facing. So with me, I have a wonderful guest. I'd like her to introduce herself.
Thank you, Zetu. My name is Nontobeko Dlamini. I am the chairperson of Eswatini Psychology Association. I am also an industrial organizational psychologist. I'm also a holistic wellness coach and a life design facilitator. Before I'm a psychologist, I'm an African and God-fearing, and also someone who believes spirituality is one of our core anchors in issues of mental health.
Wow.
I'm a mental health advocate, and I believe that if kunemzabalazo anywhere, I'd be mental health mzabalazo kind of person.
Okay.
Because it's so important for us as Emaswati especially
Yes.
to start looking at our lives from a perspective where it's not about what we are being fed, but it's about how we engage with the content that we are receiving.
Oh wow, that is so key. That is so true, Nonto. So I just want you to explain, what is mental health?
So when we speak mental health is not the absence of illness.
Okay.
It's not the presence of illness. It is neither.
Okay.
However, mental health is a status that you as a person get to exhibit or experience due to certain levels of being. So as a person, we all know how the mind is a powerful force in getting us to get to places where if we really put our mind to something, we can conquer a lot.
Okay.
So mental health relates to the whole concept of where there's positive mental health and negative mental health.
Okay.
Positive mental health status, we are looking at where you are in a healthy mental space.
Okay.
Then when we look at negative mental health status, then that is where you are now challenged mentally in terms of reaching a sense of balance.
Okay.
Which then can tend to get to a point of you literally could reach spaces where you now have, for example, a mental disorder.
Okay.
And there are times when in development of certain things, due to life experiences, due to certain traumas in life, or be it childhood traumas, or be it anything that you might have encountered, then you could probably develop mental disorders. Mental disorders literally go with how people actually can try to cope with issues and challenges related to life. Then they find themselves developing a disorder. A disorder is basically a certain type of behavior that is not positive for you. Then mental illness is something that can be also generational.
Okay.
It's something that you can inherit.
Wow, okay.
So sometimes in a family, you find, for example, like diabetes. It's a medical condition.
Yes, that's true.
So mental illness is a medical condition that then requires prescription and
Okay.
medication.
Medical attention,
Yes,
basically.
exactly.
Okay.
So things like dementia. Dementia, you'll find it, some people, the older they get, they start losing a sense of who they are.
Okay.
And by that, we mean they lose their memory, literally.
Okay.
They can even forget that this is my child.
Yes,
That's
yes.
dementia. And there's different levels of dementia.
Okay.
Then you've got your schizophrenia, which is also a mental illness, which requires medication as well. Because
Okay.
then mental illness has to do with also a chemical imbalance
Balancing your system,
in the
yeah.
brain.
Okay, in the brain, okay.
Yes. You can have mental illness like your Alzheimer's disease.
Okay.
So mental illnesses become diseases as well,
Oh, okay.
and chronic diseases for that
Okay.
matter.
Okay.
And they can actually then lead to disability,
Oh, wow, okay.
where you are now incapacitated mentally, not physically.
Okay.
So remember, there's mental disabilities,
Yes.
physical disabilities.
Okay.
And so, but they are chronic.
Yeah.
Basically.
Okay.
Yes.
So these are things that can, if they are detected earlier, they can be treated or addressed.
A lot of mental disorders can be treated.
Okay.
A lot of mental disorders, and mental illnesses can be treated once they are detected earlier and the person is able to get into a space where they change their lifestyle.
Okay.
There's certain medication and there's certain follow-ups, medically checkups. So medical and ngatsini, the medical practitioner that deals with mental illness
Okay.
is a psychiatrist.
Okay.
Your Dr. Malebe.
Okay.
That
Okay.
she was a
Yes.
psychiatrist.
Yes. Okay.
Yes,
Uh-huh,
exactly.
Okay.
Psychologists, they work with people with your mental, for example, disorders. Different types of psychologists now called.
Okay. It's
So
not
your clinical
everybody.
psychologists, counseling psychologists, because they are able to also diagnose certain mental disorders, for example, or like depression.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
depression could easily become. It's a disorder, but an illness.
An
at some
illness
point,
at a
depending
yeah.
on how severe.
Okay.
So some things are the severity of it
Okay.
is what we need to be looking at.
Oh, wow.
That is
okay.
why it's so important for us not to, as people, use the word depression
Okay.
loosely.
Yeah, because that's what we know. I'm depressed.
It has become such a normal
Yeah.
thing to say.
Eh,
I just want to encourage people.
okay.
A lot of us are not depressed. We are chronically unhappy.
Okay.
So we suffer
Explain
from
that.
chronic
Explain that.
unhappiness.
Yeah.
So chronic unhappiness, as opposed to depression. Depression is literally, you need medication.
Okay.
And you can get hospitalized in a psychiatric hospital for depression.
Okay, wait, no. I mean, maybe there's been a loss in my life. Then I've just been in this mood for a very long time. I
Yes.
can't call that depression. It's prolonged unhappiness.
It becomes depression when you become incapacitated to do anything in your life.
Oh.
You find you've lost hope to the point where you also now have suicide ideation,
Okay.
which
okay.
is this thing of constantly thinking, I think dying is
The best way.
the best option.
Okay.
So suicide ideation. So it's still an idea.
Okay.
Yeah, born.
Okay.
So it's a suicide ideation.
Okay.
And people who have depression also suffer from suicide ideation. So
Okay.
you can have many different,
Okay.
at the same time, experience different mental problems
Okay.
at the same time.
Okay.
Which is where the problem then begins.
Oh, okay.
That is why it's very important for us to also have conversations like this,
Okay.
where we discuss, Wuti, when you go through loss, the first thing that you need to understand is you need to go through the process called grief.
Yeah, because that is a challenge because at times especially these days, there's this thing that is happening where you find young people losing their husbands and all sorts of things. But then it's like, I have to get back to life. There are kids that I
Yes.
have to take
Yes.
care of. So how important, please explain the grieving part, how important that is.
So when you begin the process of grieving, You are not depressed. You are
Oh, really?
grieving
Okay.
because of loss.
It's normal.
It's a step that is very going to happen. You must grieve. It's when you
Okay.
don't grieve and you are in denial,
That is a
that is
problem.
very dangerous.
Okay.
Because you could easily go into a space where you are, when you are in denial, you can easily psychologically create an imaginary life,
Okay, explain that.
thinking you are trying to cope through the situation. You create an imaginary life where some people, even as the person has passed on,
Okay.
they struggle to let go. They
Yes.
struggle to just accept the fact that this person, they've lost the person, they will not see them again in. So for children, for example,
Okay.
they will still talk to the person as if they are
Oh,
still
like
there.
an imaginary friend.
Then the person becomes an imaginary friend for the
Okay.
child.
Uh-huh.
The person could easily find themselves struggling to then disengage from that
from imaginary
imagination.
and reality.
So we call that, it could easily become a disorder where you are struggling with disengaging
Okay.
from reality.
Okay.
So you struggle to get to see what is real and what is not real.
Okay.
And that person, you find their world just shatters.
Okay.
Nothing else matters.
Okay.
They literally zone into this space where they've created
They
a
feel
safe, yeah,
happy.
it's a safe space for them.
Okay.
Where this person is.
Okay.
The person they love. The person that they are not ready to let go of.
Okay.
So sometimes as parents, we struggle to actually get into a space where we are in and out of reality.
Okay.
For the sake of the children,
Okay.
you must be strong.
Yes, yes, yes.
In your little corner, when the children are not there, are you grieving?
Okay.
If you are not grieving, you highly, like you literally could easily find yourself being in a position where you have functional depression.
What is that?
You are functioning. Everybody thinks you are okay. And everybody, you've got things going, things are together, the kids are fine, you're still cooking, you're still the mother in your corner, are not okay.
Okay.
You are thinking of suicide, you are thinking of all the things that basically, literally, you are so feeling so hopeless.
Okay.
But when you're in front of people, you're functional.
You're fine.
So that's functional depression.
So then I'm trying to understand now the grieving. Wouldn't you say, okay, I have to be well for my kids, I have to be strong for my kids, then in my corner I cry and do whatever, I grieve. Wouldn't that be grieving? So if you can just clarify that, if when I say I'm grieving, I must act the same way wherever I may be.
Be okay. The challenge we face as people is we struggle to be okay with showing our emotions in front of people.
Okay.
If you struggle to do that,
that's a problem.
that is where the problem is. And then mental health, gahle, that's where the
Yeah.
challenge is.
Okay.
The fact that we struggle to show our emotions
Okay.
in front of people,
Uh-huh.
we keep assuming that when we do that, it shows a weakness.
It's a weakness, yeah.
Yet your children must see you cry. And we struggle to do that. We struggle to get to a point where we allow ourselves as parents to actually go through the emotions,
Okay.
to actually allow ourselves to say, I'm also human. What we don't understand as well is when your children see you cry, for example,
Okay.
it literally can bring you guys closer.
Really?
Because your children also find an opportunity to be there for you.
Okay.
Unlike when you keeping up appearances.
Yes.
I'm okay, everything's okay. Literally, your children are afraid. They want to support you. But they don't know how. You're not giving them an opportunity.
You're not opening
You're not opening yourself
room.
up.
Okay, yeah, okay.
So as parents, for example, one thing I talk about with mental health is as parents, as a society, we struggle with vulnerability.
That's true.
Yet what we actually need to develop is called confident vulnerability.
Okay.
So confident vulnerability says, yes, I'm not okay, but me being not okay, it's also okay not to be okay
Okay.
in front of others.
Okay.
It doesn't mean you're breaking down.
Okay.
You acknowledge
Okay.
the fact that you are not okay.
Okay.
The reason we have mental health issues and
uh-huh.
illnesses that then develop is because we don't want to admit
Yeah.
and acknowledge the fact that I'm not okay.
Okay. Okay. Because I think another thing, Nondo, we need to factor in is that I think our culture, the way the whole, not just Eswatini, even our culture, African culture, we've been taught, especially men, men have been told, men don't cry. You know, we've been told that you grieve. It's like there's a certain period of grieving that we've been given.
Yes.
Like it's been 2 weeks. You're supposed to be over this. You know, you can't just be going on. It's been 2 years. It's been 5 years and whatnot. So now the struggle that we have, Nondo, is that the reason I want to believe that the reason that people are not able to express their feelings and their emotions is that they're afraid of being judged.
Yes.
Because I'd be like, how Nondo? This one is still crying even now, you know, you're still morose about your loss and stuff like that. So how can, because we understand that we have to go through the process that you are saying. Now, how can we navigate that? And what can you say to us as a society in terms of accommodating, so to speak, the people that are going through grieving processes especially?
So firstly, I would say the person that's going through grief, once they have a platform where they are able to process the grief, remember you grieve.
Okay.
Grieving is a phase
Okay.
that must pass.
Okay.
You don't grieve for the rest of your life.
Forever. Yes. Okay.
So the challenge is people get stuck in grieving
Okay.
forever.
Okay.
Hence, then the nervous breakdown, or you find people feeling hopeless and helpless.
Okay.
And then they go into the depression.
Okay.
Because they don't know how to move from the
grieving
phase
Okay.
to the phase where now I am dealing
Okay.
with the loss.
Okay.
So when you experience loss, you grieve.
Okay.
Because it's shock, then you grieve. Then from there, you must deal. When you're dealing, that's when you then need external help.
When you say external help,
So someone, for example, a psychologist, you're someone who's able to hold the space and help you process your emotions.
Can you
around the
unpack
loss.
dealing?
So dealing is a process where you are now in a space where you have a platform to express, because dealing, the emotions of dealing also include anger.
Okay.
Because that's when you start realizing a lot of things where memories start flooding
Okay.
about the person, for example.
Okay.
So sometimes you can even get angry at God
Okay.
for taking the person from you.
All right.
Why me? I need this person. So dealing, you're now dealing with the actual feelings.
I see what you mean. Okay.
You are dealing with the feelings, you are dealing with the emotions of how the loss makes you feel.
Okay. Like talk about it.
So if you don't have an opportunity or a platform where you can express that
Okay.
and have someone, facilitate reflection,
Okay.
because it's about a psychologist, literally. What I am is, I'm not someone who's here to fix your life.
Okay.
I am merely a positive platform for you to have a conversation with yourself.
Okay. Okay.
And that's it.
Okay. So the more I talk about it, the more I'm able to
process and reflect.
Process and reflect. And then how does that help me?
It helps you to see what is justified in terms of what you're going through.
Okay.
It helps you to realize that sometimes you, as a person, you need to be kind to yourself.
Okay. Okay.
You don't need to put pressure on yourself.
Okay.
And you also need to get to a point where then from after dealing, you are able to make peace and make sense
Okay.
of the loss as well. Because sometimes all we need is just, how do we make sense of this?
Okay.
That's dealing.
Okay. Okay.
So I must facilitate the process of reflection so I can make sense of anything. Remember, in divorce, there's grief.
Yes, true.
It's not in death only.
Yeah, that's true.
So divorce, there's grief. Divorce, there's dealing. Dealing is where the most important level and phase that we take for granted, because in grief, there's people around you who are comforting you.
Oh, yes.
In grief, you are able to cry. Dealing is when you are now alone.
Oh, yeah. Hey?
And you are now asking yourself, why did this person leave me?
Okay.
Why am I divorcing?
Okay.
But this is not what God wants. That's when you've got the questions.
So you need
You need
somebody to
someone
bounce off those
where
questions.
you actually have the platform where you are having that conversation. You ask the question, the person then hopefully is someone that can hold the space and not judge you.
Okay.
And be a person who can help you reflect by asking questions.
Okay, as well.
Because as a psychologist, I don't tell you what to do.
Okay.
When you ask a question, I ask a question back
Okay.
so that you start thinking.
Yeah. So that I kind of like
That's
try to find
reflection.
this. Okay, that's
That's what
reflection.
reflection is.
Oh, okay.
Reflection
Wow.
is question on a question.
Okay,
Yes,
okay, okay.
yes.
That is so amazing, Nono. That is so amazing. And then, what are some of the other disorders that are part of the mental health?
So some disorders, for example, something that I always say a lot of the time, I worry about pastors' wives
Okay,
and what I call PKs,
okay,
pastors' kids.
okay,
I call them PKs.
okay,
Yes.
okay.
They grow up in the structure
Uh-huh.
where if the leader of the family, in this case, ukhumbule, the person is a pastor and a leader in church. At home, you are the head of the family.
Okay,
So which means your leadership role is double all the time.
okay,
In the community,
okay.
you are already defined. Before people say, you are no longer, this is Mr. So-and-so.
Okay,
This is Pastor
okay,
so-and-so.
okay.
Everywhere you go,
Their expectations.
there's expectations now.
Okay,
The challenge with that is a pastor themselves, you will find when they are alone, a lot of things get so overwhelming.
oh yeah,
Who
hey.
do they talk to? They need to debrief. Otherwise, you will find, there's studies, for example, in America where you find where pastors hang themselves.
Yeah.
They kill themselves, literally they kill themselves.
Okay.
Yet even that, according to the Bible, is so-called a
Yeah.
sin. They literally get to the point where they are human.
That is so, oh my goodness. Because, even with the COVID, I was reading a report where they were saying, especially overseas, that so many pastors killed themselves because there was such an exodus in the church. There was the lockdown, people were in the homes, but then when the lockdowns were lifted, people did not come back. And some of them, this was their source of income.
Yes, exactly. So also that's another challenge is people struggle to understand. I'll take it back.
Okay.
Umvangeli.
Yeah.
An evangelist would go home to home,
Yeah.
community to community,
Okay.
and minister the word of God,
Okay.
and try to uplift people's hope in life.
Okay.
For them, it wasn't about
Okay.
getting paid.
Okay.
They were literally servants.
Uh-huh.
And that is another form of leadership.
Okay.
Servant leadership.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
So there's different types of leadership as well that in my work space,
Okay.
when I do leadership development,
Uh-huh.
there's charismatic leader, autocratic leader, there's your servant leadership.
Yes.
So different types.
Okay.
So sadly, in the times we are living in,
Okay.
ministerial work has become about also the proceeds that come your way.
Okay.
This is why when, as a pastor, for example, if you do not have a form of career
Okay.
where you are making money
Okay. Outside the
outside
church.
of the church,
Okay.
then there's going to be a lot of, just overlap of things and
Okay.
uyayibona that type
Yeah,
of thing.
okay.
But then also the pressure is very high.
Yeah, hey?
The pressure for that person is very high.
Okay.
To constantly be on point. The wife must constantly be on
On
point.
point.
The children must be on point.
They must behave
They
well.
must keep a certain type of of perception
Okay.
for the public to see.
Okay.
It's like politics.
Okay.
In America, that's why politicians that get into Senate, they have their own businesses.
Okay.
They have their own careers.
Okay.
They are educated people. You understand?
yeah.
Because if you are going to be a servant leader, it will be hard to be a servant leader and be hungry.
That's true.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
So it's also about striking the balance.
Okay.
The mental health side of that now, someone in that role, for example, a pastor's wife.
Yes, yes. I want us to
Pastor's
talk
wife
about that. Yeah.
can find herself easily because of the pressures of always, one, you need to look good.
Okay.
Looking good gay in itself is subjective.
Okay.
Proper, small waist, everything, makeup, you name it.
You know,
heels and
that's the standard people have
standard
set.
that-
It's not a
exactly.
standard God has
Yes.
set. Yeah.
The sad part about that is that person could easily develop a mental disorder,
Okay.
and where they could easily have a behavior where they eat in a certain way
Okay.
to maintain that type of weight
Okay.
that is expected by society.
Okay.
So a disorder, for example, an eating disorder called bulimia. Bulimia, the person will eat. When everyone is not watching,
Okay.
they would go to the toilet and throw it all up.
Okay. Why eat if I'm going to
Because
throw
I
it
must
up?
eat, I must show as I'm eating.
Oh, like I'm normal.
Like I'm normal.
yes. Oh, okay.
So a disorder is when you're presenting and exhibiting behavior where normal around people,
But
in
when
your
you're by
corner,
yourself.
yeah. Because anorexia, for example,
Okay.
is when you just don't eat
At all.
or you eat literally
Like
only
a
handful.
carrot,
Yeah.
you know.
Yes.
A
For the
leaf of
for the whole
lettuce
day.
for the whole day.
Yes.
Because I have to maintain a certain
Yes.
weight. That is expected
Expected
by society.
So that's a mental disorder.
Oh my goodness. So thank you so much for joining us. So to contact us, do keep in touch with us on 7659-1490 or go to our social media platforms, or you can send us an email or on godsees2022@gmail.com. So have a blessed night. Thank you.